Check it out, y'all. I'm tired and I want to get.
All right, next, book reviews. Did anybody read? Okay, who read? I need some hands because we're going to talk about the book, and I need to know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then it's going to be kind of like weird. So it's okay if you hadn't, because I'll just kind of review. So we've got 2 people that read. Shannon, have you read?
I read some of it. I read the chapter you told us to read.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, do you guys read through Katrina, or do you read up to Katrina?
Up to Katrina.
Okay,
I
that's,
read Katrina.
all right, that's fine. Nobody's on trial. I just wanna make sure that, and what happened was, when I did these numbers for everybody, the average number was between a 2 and a 3, as far as numbers, and if you're not sure what I'm talking about, spiritual walk, between 1 and 5. I mostly got 3s, and so that's where I'm gonna teach at a 3. Okay, and a 3 is good, it's good, it's right in the middle, it's where we need to be. Okay, in the beginning of my book, I talk about Jeremiah 29 and 11. It says, I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, and to give you an expected end. I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really want that from God. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not want God interfering in my life, even though I was a Christian. I didn't like the interference because that meant that something was not gonna go my way. And so that's where a lot of us are at. We're at where God is interfering in our lives, and it's not necessarily fun when God's interfering unless we're praying and asking God to interfere. So that's sort of where I'm at. So I'm this woman who's 35 years old. I'm spoiled spiritually because things have not necessarily come easy for me, but I have fought all the way up through my years of being in church and my dad being a preacher, and we have statuses at our church. I don't know, y'all probably ain't got no status at your church, but you got the people who no one talks to, and then you got the parents of the people, you know, who are sort of prominent, and at the same time, you got the jealousy going there. So if you're within that second realm of parents that are prominent, but the parents are kind of get left out the person, then you're at this weird kind of status, and that's sort of where my dad was. My dad's if you met my dad, you just love him. He's a youth pastor. He's real tall, light skin, has green eyes. He's every woman's dream. I had to get over the green eye, tall, with good hair thing years ago because, oh my goodness, I would have that's what I wanted, because I wanted someone just like my dad. And so his demeanor was of that, and so we kind of follow behind him, trying to reap his little benefits of being who he was of popularity, but that don't work all the time. You know, not everybody's gonna like you. And I had to learn that. I had to learn the haters game. And I used to get my heart broke every time somebody would hate on me or say something about me or say something that I said and then they twist it and not really tell the truth and everything. And then you gotta go back and did you hear what they said about me? Did you hear what they said? And you're trying to, well, that's not true. I did say this, but I didn't say that. And you're just going through all these different, and so that's the drama that comes with your 20s and your 30s or whatever. You live in that sort of world of drama. So when I got all my little loose ends tied up and had bows on everything, and I thought everything was perfect, and I had my husband, I had my good job, I had my place, nice place to live, my little kids looked cute every Sunday, I had them in high ponytails and the cute fluffy socks, and we went to church, and I directed the choir, and you know, my husband just sat in the audience, because kind of that's what he did, you know, sat in the audience, and I was directing the choir and doing everything. And then the Lord's like, I need to deal with you because your heart ain't right. Your heart ain't right. Yeah, you have all your little ducks in a row. And that's when he began to tell me to fight. But I was just like, fight what? What do I need to fight for? I you know, everything's good. I mean, I got everything I need. I was just like, whatever. I just didn't know how to fight and didn't care to know how. Didn't care to know how to fight. And so during this time, a woman, her name is Prophetess, and I don't know if you guys know who Prophetess is, but Prophetess is in the book, and she's this spiritual woman who comes into my coffee shop, and she comes in and she just, hi.
Hello.
How are you, Mama?
Good, how are y'all?
Just find you a seat on the end there. Okay, well anyway, Prophetess comes into the coffee shop and she's stirring her tea. She orders tea and she stares at me and says, you need to come see me. I'm like, I need to come see you for what? you're spooky. And she just kept saying, she goes, you need to come see me. And when I get off of my I'm at work. I work for Chrysler, but I also have the coffee shop. So I'm working nights at Chrysler, get off, rest for about 4 hours, and jump up. My mom and them are at the coffee shop, go in there, bam, I'm on my second job. So I'm leaving there, it's like 3 o'clock, I'm very tired, and I do not feel like going to see this prophetess woman. So she tells me, you need to come see me. The Lord says you need to stop by there. I'm like, I'm gonna stop by now. I was thinking, keep going. And so, and she lived on there. I lived on an Air Force base, it's called Grissom Air Force Base, and that's where I lived. They allowed the civilians to live on there. And so my coffee shop was on the base, my house was on the base, everything was in the vicinity. And so I drive by there, and the Lord said, you need to stop. And I was just, no, I'm not stopping. I mean, because at this time, there's no consequences behind what I'm doing. There's no consequences as of yet. And so finally, when things start to go down and you start to see what is happening to me, what's happening is there's an old boyfriend in my life, and he's my first love. And I just love him so much. And it doesn't even matter that I'm married, because I feel like I have a right to him. I don't know if you've ever felt that way. If you've ever had a first love in your life, and you have a right. It don't matter if they're married. It don't matter if you're married. Who cares? I have a right to love him. I've loved him since I was 13 years old. And the Lord said, cut the relationship off. I don't care what it is that you're doing or not doing. Cut it off. And I wouldn't do it. And I cut it off for a little while, and then he texts me, or, here he comes. Here comes the devil stringing me back in, and I'm not doing nothing. I'm not kissing or touching. He lives in Indianapolis. It's like from here to Birmingham. There's no harm in what I'm doing. But at the same time, we're in church on Sunday morning going, use me, Lord, and show someone the way. I'm just like, And that's what we do. Do we not do that on Sunday morning?
Yeah. Amen.
We're up there, gotta go see that, Jesus, use me, Lord, use me, crying tears, snotting and crying. And so God said, okay, I'm gonna use you, and I'm going to clean you up. So when everything hit the fan, I went down to Indianapolis, took my ex-boyfriend a dog, because I promised him we had this little dog, and it peed everywhere, and he was really good with dogs. I was like, I can't deal with Snoopy anymore. Snoopy got to go. So I took Snoopy down to Indianapolis and gave him the dog. That's all I did. Wrote him an email, said, I'm going to bring Snoopy down. Mom said we'll be glad that you're taking the dog. And my husband was on the internet. That's how he found my email. You don't know who you're fighting for. You think it's just about you. This class and everybody in here is more than just you. Everything you learn is about every single person you will encounter. And that was my thing. I thought everything was about me. I thought it was just me. So it wasn't about me. It was about more than me. So the fight wasn't just my fight. It was fighting for my family, fighting for my daughters. Because when you get a divorce, you don't just lose your husband. You lose your status. You lose your mind. You lose your peace. You lose your joy. You lose your children. You lose a lot of things. And so during that time, I didn't realize that. Email leaves me a nice little note on the hood of the oven. It says, I found the email, prints the email out for me, and sticks it up there and says, I'm leaving you. That's the last conversation I had with my husband. That was the last it wasn't, after that, it was just, that was it. It was just totally different. Everything changed at that moment. My whole life it was like the stars and the moon fell out of the sky, and I was just like, I didn't know what to do. So guess where I went? There's prophetess. Oh, she's just like, she comes in, she's not even moved by my tears. She's not moved by my snot and crying. And I didn't say a word to her. She said, if your husband has not left you, he is going to leave you. God is going to strip you of everything you ever knew about life. He said, and then he's going to rebuild you completely from the ground up, because your foundation is cracked. Your foundation is of no good to you. So everything that I learned in church was as I'm not saying knowing Jesus, but I'm saying my mentality of what I thought being a Christian was flawed, right down to the foundation. And so God needed to rebuild my foundation, and that took time. And I asked her, I said, well, how long is all this going to take? She said, 5 years. I was like, that was it. I ain't waiting no 5 years. See, there I go. right back to how I was before. Same attitude, right back to how I was. I'm still challenging God. I'm still rolling my neck. I'm still in control. I'm still doing what I want to do, and I'm doing it how I want to do it. And God is telling me, I'm trying to save your life. Why? Because you asked me to. You asked me to. And it's not fun, by any means. It's not fun. So that leads me up to where we're at. God was trying to warn me, Lori, a storm is coming. A storm is coming. And anybody and everybody who's in this classroom, a storm is coming. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how, but either you're walking in a storm, you're in a storm, or you're coming upon a storm. That's life. We're all going to have that. We're all going to have those storms. So what I want to talk about now we've done that, I want to talk about fear. We're going to do war games class. I want to talk about fear. Can anybody explain to me maybe something that you're afraid of? Does anything come to mind when you say
Snakes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Spiders.
Snakes.
Failure.
What's that?
Failure.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for right there. This one is the number one reason why we don't stay safe. We're afraid. I don't even know if I spelled that right. If I didn't spell it right, no, I'm a writer, but I'm a horrible speller. But this right here is one of the main reasons why we don't stay safe, is because we're afraid of disappointing God. We're also afraid of disappointing ourselves. We're afraid. No, I'm not even gonna tell you. I'm let you guys to tell me. Disappointing others. Okay. I hope I spell that right. Okay, what else? That can't be known.
Setting a goal and not achieving it.
Not achieving goals.
Setting a goal that you know you're not gonna do.
What else?
Look at things and you just have feel. What's the question again?
What would cause you to fear?
What people, they just worried about what others would say.
Worry about what they
You know, or they could be.
Okay.
Self-worth.
Self-worth.
Rejection.
Anybody else? And those are good. Those are really good. And that was my main problem. Well, I'll tell you another one of mine was this. Control. That was my theme song. I love Janet Jackson singing something. I was in my little car riding around, control, thinking I was really. You know who's in control? The devil was in control. I was not in control of anything. And for me, this is the big one right here. I don't like putting my trust in things and people and, you know, all that comes along with control. I did not want to give up my control over my life. And so, yeah.
I'm so guilty I don't let people drive me anywhere.
Me too.
So that's like you giving them control. I'm serious. It was a problem in my marriage. You can't drive me nowhere. I don't know. And I'm sitting up here looking at you, make sure you ain't asleep. That is very much. I'm so sorry. That is me everywhere.
That's me too. That's me too. I don't like. I had it written down somewhere. I wrote it here. I left those notes at home. Control for me is when I'm riding down Blue Spring Road, or what's the other road, Baskin Lane? When we're riding, I'm dueling with everybody. I can't stand for someone to pull in front of me, and I have to hit my brakes. So I need for you to stay either here or here, and if you're here, you best be going on. Because if you're here too long, I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna pass you. I can't stand for someone to be next to me.
I don't like that either.
Yeah. It's sort of like a confinement, and I don't like being confined. And that's what that control is about, learning how to be in a confined space yet breathe. That's a big issue, probably with most women. Where does that come from?
Lack
Lack of what?
of being
In control.
Well, I think it's also the fact that you think you're in control. You know what I'm saying?
Lack of trust. Lack of trust.
Yeah.
Lack of trust, you failing to trust God. Trust that you feel trust.
Well, where does that come from? Where does the lack of trust come from?
Father,
I think maybe.
environment, situation.
I don't wanna say pride, but, I don't wanna say pride, but pride.
Well, it could be. I mean, for every single person, that's, I want you guys to, if you take notes, take notes. That's where it comes, wherever your control issues come from is something that you have to figure out for yourself. Okay, that is something you have to figure out. I'm gonna tell you what happened to me this week, because our time is getting away from us. This week, I had a toothache. And not only did I have a toothache, I had gnats in my house. And I'm trying to do homework. Yeah, you know those fruit fly things?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's,
all day.
yeah, you're just like, when they bite.
Yes.
And I got one in between my shirt. He went right down my shirt, went bit, just tore me all to pieces. I've never gotten bit where they actually,
Yeah.
yes. And okay, if you can understand it. So I got 2 classes that are merging. One is ending and one is beginning. And so I'm trying to get all this paper and work done. And then my tooth is hurting me because I got the fan on. Because the air makes my tooth hurt even worse. So I got a toothache and I'm like this. And my tooth is hurting. And the gnats are driving me crazy. So I get up on Sunday and I need to have the paper in by 11. And it's 7 o'clock. So I go out to Walmart and I bomb my whole house. And I mean, I've set 6 bombs off my apartment, ain't nothing but 900 feet. All just like, one right here, bombs everywhere in the whole house. So I leave the house and go somewhere else and try to do my homework, and I'm almost like, and I want to say to God, really? Can't, I took a half a bottle of Motrin, I didn't pray, I got gnats, and I'm trying to really be a good person about this. I'm just like, and I'm typing, and I'm like, oh God, and then I'm at this restaurant, and I got Wi-Fi at this little pizza restaurant, and these people are just talking, and it's a restaurant, they're supposed to talk. So, yesterday I get up, and the lady calls me from the church. She's a lady goes to this church. She says, Lori, she says, are you doing okay? The Lord put you on my mind. I said, no. I said, I've been crying all morning. I said, I got a toothache. She says, you need your tooth pulled. And I said, yeah. And she's like, I'm going to pay for your tooth to get pulled. And then I got up and got ready. I didn't go to work Monday, and I'm fighting gnats. After I didn't bomb the whole house, I still got gnats. I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, Lord, really? And so then I pick up my lunch pail. I forgot to clean it out. God said the reason why I allowed that in your life is because you need to understand where the source is coming from. I don't answer your prayers not based upon this big, gigantic thing that I can't do for you, and I'm up in heaven counting the angels to see how many angels I got in service today. That is not the point. The reason why God doesn't answer the majority of our things that we want Him to answer like a call boy is because He wants you to find the source of where the pain, the irritation, the problem is coming from. If I clean out the lunch pail, then I won't have gnats. I don't need God to swipe gnats away from me when I can clean out my lunch pail. I don't need God to take pain away from me from my mouth. I do necessarily to function until I can get that tooth taken care of, but I need to get the tooth pulled. I need to go to the dentist. And that's what we do. We'll ask God to fix things for our lives. We'll say, well, God, He ain't acting right. It's a source. Who you with? Who you with that ain't acting right? Because that ain't ain't who you supposed. If he ain't acting right, and he's your boyfriend, and you're going to church and he's not, and you're trying to live safe and he's not, and he's all up and down your shirt, and in between you're playing this game all day long, and stop, quit, I can't, we mustn't, you know, that ain't your husband. I'm gonna be honest with you, that ain't him. And I know, because when you get through reading the book, you're gonna figure out, oh my gosh, how many men does she date?
Ooh.
Yeah, me too. And that's a lot of us, we just don't talk, we just don't tell nobody. I named them. Yeah, I got chapters. And I just barely changed her name. Like, I'll date somebody named Greg. I changed his name to Craig. He knows who he is. I dare him to pick up the book. I'm like, here's a free copy. And they all they're all in there like, you know, where am I at and what does she say about him? And it's true. It's true. And God had me write that purposely. So when I get through crying and whining, then I turn back into good old single 35-year-old Lori who really wants a husband, who really wants somebody in her life. And that's when it gets really, we're going to get there really quick. And you're going to see all the different men. Oh my goodness. I dated some buggers, y'all. I dated some bugaboos, and it was me. I was a source. I'm the one. I could have said no. How hard is it? If he's a bugaboo, you don't let anybody kiss you just because you ain't been kissed in. I ain't been kissed in the last 6 months, you know. And he's nasty. You know he's nasty. Y'all know he's nasty. You know his breath stinks. And he's all God, you're just like, No. Okay, this is, we're getting short on time, and I kind of want to make sure you guys, you know, are absorbing and grounded. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a game. One of my chairs is missing. I need one more chair. Can I have that too? Thank you. I need 3 volunteers. And I need 3 bold people. And the only way you can learn to be bold and to be, what do we call, what's the name of this class? Brave. Okay, so I need 3 brave people. And bring your weapons with you. Rashida, you know your weapons. Yeah, see? Oh my goodness. Oh, you're sleepy. Want me to wake you up? I need one more volunteer. Can I get one more person? I want to be bold. Pick somebody. Me? Yeah. I know. If you had a friend, y'all saw her defenseless, what would you do?
You fight for him.
What else would you? Could you fight for him your whole life? No. Then what are you gonna do?
Teach her how to fight.
Then how are you gonna teach him? With what?
Word.
With the weapons. Do you see your friend up here? Without any weapons? You think she might need a Bible?
Yeah,
she might need a Bible?
Oh, I got one.
No, weapons don't really do you any good without the word of God. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're going to see, you guys are gonna be the judge of whether you think that their weapons, that they're using the right weapons, and you guys are gonna be the judge of pass or fail on their weapons, okay? Alright. And so we've dealt with fear. We really didn't deal with fear very much, but we dealt with it enough that you guys understand where it's coming from. Okay? We'll probably I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more. The next time we're gonna go into the failures and stuff like that. But I want to give you guys an idea that fear is gonna, whatever's gonna happen to you, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen regardless. You're not in control of that. God's in control. He's in control of every single aspect. The devil has to come to God and say, God, Mr. God, you know, I know you're the Son of God and the living Father of all creation. Can I go to Sister Sally and just kind of make her mad? do you mind if I do? And the Lord looks down and says, you know, Sister Sally, you've been praying. And I kind of need her to light a fire underneath her. You know what, Satan, go right ahead. And Satan goes, well, that's a little bit trivial for me. I'll just send one of my imps. Because he's got plenty of them. Okay? As a matter of fact, he's got imps assigned to every single person. That's just how serious it is to walk. Have you ever heard of a familiar spirit? It's familiar with you. It knows you. It knows what you like. A familiar spirit ain't gonna come up to me with a pack of cigarettes, blowing smoke in my face, talking about one. It ain't gonna do that. But there was a time in my life where it would have. It would have done that. But but I would say there is deliverance. I'll use that as an example. There is deliverance. I remember being saved, and my husband was delivered from cigarettes just like that, and I wasn't. And how did I start smoking cigarettes? Hanging around people who smoked. And then I started smoking. So when I started smoking, before you know it, the Lord delivered him, but the Lord didn't deliver me like that. So I'm like over in the corner. And I don't even like the smell of it. I'm like, oh. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I remember taking a trip to Chicago. I was going to drive my car all the way to Chicago to smoke a pack of cigarettes, just so I could get away and smoke my cigarettes. That's how I felt. This is the honest to God truth. That is how I felt. And I remember getting in the car, buying the cigarettes, taking the wrapper off the cigarette, pulling the cigarette out, and lighting it. And the Lord said, look at you. He said, you really gonna go all the way to Chicago? That's what I want to say. You're gonna go all the way to Chicago. I was supposed to say. Oh, well, I will say, but I was just waiting to deliver. You can go over to Chicago to smoke a cigarette. He said, Lord, if I take this from you, you will never, ever in your life pick up another cigarette. And I was so desperate at that moment. But I threw the cigarette out the window, threw the pack out the window, and came home. My husband's like, I thought you were going to Chicago. I said, no, I just changed my mind. I think I'm just going to stay home. And from that day forward, I had the little cravings, but I remembered in my mind that he said, if you don't pick it up, I will deliver you. If you do this, I will do that. Do you see that in the Bible? Does he not make covenants like that? If I do this, or if you do this, I'll do that. If you do this, I'll do that. That's how God, that's how he is. He's like give and take. But that fear is what if I fail? What if I don't? What if I have cravings? What if I can't, do that? But the one thing about God is there's grace. For me, I knew that, for me, it was different for me because the way I was raised, I knew better. I should have never picked it up in the first place. And if I had to fight with that thing up until Jesus came back, then that's what I would be doing. And God knows the end from the beginning. He knew I would fight. That's why he gave me that ultimatum. Because he knew I would fight. So that was just something I wanted to share with somebody. I don't know why, but that's what he told me. All right. Shannon.
Yes, ma'am.
I heard that you've been talking about me. And I appreciate it. I appreciate what you said. Did you know Shannon's been talking about me, y'all? What are you going to do about it? What is it?
My shoes.
Shoes of peace. Find me a scripture. You got 1 minute. Okay. Desiree, your man, he called me last night. And he told me that he don't want to be your girlfriend no more. Your boyfriend no more. He wants to be with me now. And I just needed you to know that. And I just want you to do whatever you need to do and handle it the way you want to handle it. Think about it. Your grandson.
Yeah.
I heard one of the teachers.
Tiptoe now. That part went through now.
Go, wait a minute.
Go on.
They wish he wasn't in that class. I'm not talking. And they also said that you spoiled him. That ain't it. They was talking about your daughter too.
Oh, well, they can.
What you got for me, Shannon?
Well, I don't think this goes with it, but.
You're just flipping. I need to hear.
Okay, I don't think this goes with it, but the Lord. No, that's not it. I'm just trying to find something actually.
So you can't quote nothing off the top of your head? What do you know? What's in your heart?
When the Lord told them Jehoshaphat to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord.
So you're just gonna stand still and let me beat you down?
That would be my first reaction.
That would be your first reaction, just gonna let me beat you down?
No, I said that would not be
What's your first reaction?
retaliate.
Retaliate.
What's she
Okay.
honest?
Okay. Okay. Then why come you didn't retaliate?
Because we're walking, I almost did, but I had to remember where we've been covering.
So your shoes of peace?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Desiree?
Hey, what were we supposed to get a thumbs up?
No, you think about what Shannon said. You guys are gonna get a chance to vote. You're gonna get a chance to vote. What you think? What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? You keep thinking, girl. 'Cause I got you. See that?
Oh,
Keep
my
thinking.
God.
Hold on.
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Mine was the supplication, and that means, I guess, to, you know, just listen to what they're saying, but not react to it, I guess.
Okay. So where's your scripture?
I don't have it yet.
You don't have
This ain't the
scripture?
good Bible for me to.
Okay. Now, what I wanna say, did you see anybody lift their finger to help them? I did, I was thinking through.
Yeah, if I was we supposed to?
What was the first thing I said when y'all came in here?
What the piece of gospel that's all understanding, you know?
When I first came in here and when she sat down, I said, if she don't have any weapons and tools, what do? You help her fight. Nobody helped her fight.
I was
You was thinking about
I was
it.
praying for
What was her question?
I thought about
I
Proverbs
what she
3, 5, and 6.
What did she say?
Okay, what?
Trusting in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not into thine own understanding. So, you know, I left that at that.
Okay.
Bible says that the peace of God surpasses all understanding. And with you, that's all you can do is sit there and just pray, because what good would it do, you know, to say something back? Because he said, do not let your good be evil spoken of. So, you know.
You see it? Do you see what you have in you? Woo. Do you see what you have in you? You have it all. You have this in you. And it doesn't come from someone attacking you on your job or in the mall or on Facebook. It has to be something in you. Has to be able to say, no, I that's not it. That's not, the belt of truth. I am the righteousness of God. That's the truth. And if I can't think of nothing else to say, that's what I'm the righteousness of God. I don't care he left me. I'm still the righteousness of God. This is the truth about me. I don't care what you say, what you heard, or whatever. My boyfriend left me. I'm still the righteousness of God, with or without you. If you gotta cry while you're saying it, cry. Cry while you're telling the devil, no, I will not lose my mind, because I am the righteousness of God. Or like you said, the peace that surpasses all understanding. I have that peace. I will not fall apart. I may feel like I'm falling apart right now, but the Word of God says I have weapons. And I'm going to use, I don't care how miserable I feel about it right now. I'm still going to use them. If you see your friend in that position, girl, I know, I seen him. I heard about him, I knew.
Yes,
And you're looking at your friend going, you mean you knew all this time and you didn't help me? You didn't pray? You didn't intercede? You didn't tell me? You didn't say nothing? And that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We'll sit there and be talking. She's my friend, and I'm over here. Girl, I knew her man was cheating. I knew he was cheating. I saw him. I knew he wasn't worth a nickel. Or whatever my daughter says, a food stamp. He ain't worth a food stamp. And that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that the responsibility goes beyond just you. And so during this week, I want you guys to think about what they kind of went through in the drama. The drama stops with you. And you have to get over this in order to not put up with the drama. You have to get over what people think about you. People think that I'm kind of off key a little bit, but that's because people have talked about me. Whether I'm off key, whether I'm low key, whether I'm loud key, whatever I am, I have learned boldness. I don't care. Because if Jesus walked in here, every single thing that I erased off that board would have been erased. It would, just like Jesus walking in here, all that would have been gone. I don't care if Jesus is in here and I'm talking about the Lord and there's drama going on and we're all sitting up here laughing and giggling at somebody's shoes or laughing at their car because their car stalled in the middle of the road or the girl, you should have seen her car. Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. And you just rolled by, girl. I didn't want to get out of the car because I had on my good shoes and I'm tearing on my shoes to get out. And Jesus walks in. And we're all like, but that's where we're at. And if we don't get past that and don't get past that mentality of us four and no more, or it's all about me, and you'll be miserable. That's the only way I can put it. You'll be miserable. I am a miserable person when I'm not helping people. What makes me happy is helping people. What makes me happy is if I can be of assistance to someone. What makes me get out of my depression is being able to help somebody else. I don't have much. I'm not riding. You guys think I'm riding around in my Challenger? Yeah, that Challenger is paid for because Jesus paid for it. I didn't pay one dime for that Challenger. I lost my job at Chrysler. They fired me. I was gone for 3 years, and then boom, the money came and the car came. Only God's grace, only God's mercy, none of that. He gives me what Lori can handle. And if you don't feel like I can handle having the big job at Chrysler and having this and having that, and I can't do what God asked me to do within the boundaries of me being saved, then I told God, take it. Yeah. Take it from me. I don't want nothing that's going to keep me in hell. I don't want to go to hell. You understand? I don't want to go to hell. And God holds each and every one of you guys responsible, not for yourself only, but for your mother and your brothers and your sisters and everybody that is around you, that you're the only little bit of Jesus that they'll see. You're the only one. I'm the only Jesus that people see to a certain extent. They're not maybe looking at you today. Maybe they're looking at Wendy. I'm always looking at Wendy. How many of y'all look at Wendy? I do. I expect Wendy to be, she may have her bad days and I'll rub her back and tell her I love her. I don't expect Wendy to cuss nobody out. Wendy better not cuss nobody out. Because Jesus raptured and showed them came and Wendy to cuss somebody out. Raptured and showed them. I'm depending on Wendy to be a sound board. And she may not feel that way. She may not feel that way, but she's still going to be that. And I hope that she's dependent on me.
I hope ain't nobody looking at me.
They will be. They will be. But see, you're at the beginning of you got to understand, you're at the beginning of your fight. Huh? And you know what? I'm looking at you too. When I first came to this church and I met you and Linnell, you guys are the only people. I didn't know whether you were saved, whether you weren't saved. I didn't know nothing about. You were the only two friends I had at this church. And if it had not been for your kindness, if it had not been for Linnell just giggling and talking and laughing, and I had my Tammy, I was having the best time. I was just having a one. It was because of you two.
And then you left.
You know what? No, she did. But I did. But why? Why?
Oh, you left and went to the
But
front.
what? Exactly. Exactly. She left the church.
That's what I thought.
She had a radio show. I left the middle row because I needed to be closer. I can't be in the church. I was scared half to death. I didn't know anybody.
We sit in the middle though. We don't sit in the back.
No, you don't sit in the middle, but
The car's under the back.
they do sit in the back. But for me, I slid into the place. I came kind of in incognito. And then he would call me out. And then when my husband came, I'm a front rower. If I could be on that front row bouncing up and down, I would have been on that front row. Only reason why I don't is part of this is the reason why
Bind
I
that
be
stuff
on the-
up.
You don't come and jump, bind it up. Don't It's true, though, ain't it?
Better wear some good
Bind
stuff.
it up. Yeah, they're jumping. You notice when I jump in the choir box, you see me go over in a little corner. I'm falling, and I see them like sideways, sort of like. You know, I get my press on, but I'm over in a corner. I'm like, I'm not right behind the pastor. I'm not jumping in front of people. I'm over in a little corner. I'm trying to get out of everybody's way so I can jump, because I done gained like 20 pounds and I can't jump on my boobs and got big and I can't jump like I used to jump. But anyway, the reason why I left because I need to be up front. I need to be close to the anointing. And Linnell knows I always tell, whenever I meet people, I always say, these are the first two people. I'll tell everybody, these are the nicest people to me. And I needed that. I needed that so much to fit in. And we do, we need that. You know, we need that to fit in. If you see somebody comes in there and they're, you know, like Sister Ashley, she's not here tonight. The one with the little boy. Ashley Graves. She's tall, she's kind of got good hair, she's got it cut short, she sits right behind me. But Ashley needs that. You know, I don't think she would mind me saying that. She was gone for like a month and I didn't have her number and I didn't know how to get a hold of her. And I knew the pastor's wife had called her. But when we came Sunday and people were like, where have you been? Where have you been? And she was happy to have received that. Because people are always different. They're always feeling something different than what you think. The devil's in your ear. Look, she thinks she cute because she got on them heels there. Look, I hope she falls. She's walking on, look at her. Look at her hair. I know it's, I know.
Show me some things.
Say it again.
You gotta have a discerning spirit.
Yeah, but the discerning spirit isn't
'Cause I
always,
know you.
the discerning spirit that you think you're hearing isn't always from God. A lot of times, the devil will, he will,
from God.
well, that's good.
Thank God.
But the Bible also says when you deal with spirits, the Bible says whatsoever is lovely, whatsoever is pure, whatsoever is of good report.
Right.
You know, think on these things.
Yes.
And if there's something or someone whispering in your ear and it's negative, it doesn't even matter even though if it is true, it could be true. Whatsoever is lovely, whatsoever is, because it's gonna come at you. If that's your bait and that's what you like Twinkies, the devil's gonna say, girl, and you're like, he's just like, here, have another Twinkie. Yeah, they did. Look, everybody, I didn't like the way they said this, and I didn't like the way they said. And the last thing I want to talk about before I leave is offense. The spirit of offense comes to you just like this. Are you going to eat me? Are you going to take me? It won't leave you. You have to rebuke the spirit of offense. Rebuke it. When someone does something, I have people do stuff to me all the time. I probably seem like the most happiest person, kind of go-lucky, happy. You know, I have people say stuff to me all the time. People don't speak to me, or people will kind of like just, you know, nudge me. And like this Chinese lady this morning when I was walking and she backed the car up. She would have just basically ran me over. And Chinese people, I don't know, they just sometimes
Can't drive.
They can't drive. And that's a thought. That was a thought that was in my head, is this woman can't drive. And I was walking and when she pulled the car, I was like, I wasn't sure which way to go. And the Lord said, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely. He says, you will not be offended by her. In her culture, there's thousands of people on the street. They drive around people. Their culture is like in Taiwan and those places, there are millions of people packed up. So them going around you while you're walking, in America is rude. You wait for me to get on the street. But where they come from, it's not. It's not rude. That's how they are. They just ride around bicycles. They don't. And so you're dealing with other people's culture. You're dealing with other people the way they were raised. So it's not just personal. It's not just about you. So the spirit of offense has to be something we come, and it is a spirit. Me and Shannon was talking about that. The Bible says about fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and power and of a sound mind.
Thank you, Lord.
So offense is a spirit too. And it comes at you every single day. Somebody's always gonna do something to offend you, and offend you, and offend you, and offend you, until you learn to say, I will not be offended. I don't care. I ain't going, if Jesus came in here today and somebody offended you, would be like, "Psh, whatever, Jesus is here." You say what you wanna say, Jesus is here. But you cannot be, offense will drive you crazy, or you'll learn to just repel it. Because it will cost you your soul. If you hold on to every, how you gonna get in a boat and you got all the, I'm trying to take you can't take that with you. When the rapture takes place and we're going, only person that's going up is your spirit. If you're loaded down with offense, you're loaded down with fear, you're loaded down with all the burdens, and he said this and she said that and they did this and they did that. Where do you expect to go? You're not going nowhere. You gotta learn to shake that stuff off. And how do you shake it off? The weapons. And so this week, when we come back next week, I expect you guys to be locked and loaded. I expect you to be locked and loaded, and I'm gonna have some other people come up here, or if this is the same ones that wanna come up here, then that's fine too, it doesn't really matter. And what I did was, I don't have money, but since y'all got friends, all you guys get free books. If you have a book, give one to someone that you care about. I know you do. And so that's for you guys coming up, I appreciate that. And let's end with prayer. I want you guys to all come around, or so we can all hold hands and pray.